Namaskar and a very warm welcome to everyone joined in today on our week 67th Know Your Species, Know Your Zoo talk. This talk is being organized by the Central Zoo Authority, New Delhi, as part of the ongoing Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Mahotsav is a 75-week-long celebration to commemorate 75 years of India's independence, which falls on the 15th of August 2022. The Central Zoo Authority is taking the celebration forward through a massive outreach campaign entitled Conservation to Coexistence, The People Connect. Under the helm of this campaign, we will be showcasing 75 conservation priority species and 75 zoos, highlighting one species and one zoo each week. We're currently in week 67 of this celebration with the Ganges River Dolphin as a species in focus and the Sanjay Gandhi Biological Park, Patna, as a zoo in focus. So joined in today to speak to us on this species is Dr. Nachiket Kelkar, who is the head of the Riverine Ecosystems and Livelihoods Program at the Wildlife Conservation Trust. Dr. Nachiket has been studying and working towards the conservation of endangered riverine biodiversity, especially Ganges River dolphin, since 2007. For his doctorate, he conducted research on the socio-ecological conflicts in the riverine fisheries of India's Gangetic plains. And his long-term interdisciplinary work has been focused in the states of Bihar and the adjoining states. He is also a member of the IUCN Cetacean Specialist Group, and he will speak to us today more on the resilience of the Ganges River dolphin in human landscape. And over to you, sir, to please begin your talk.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohanty, for that kind introduction. I'll share my screen and then begin. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to express my gratitude towards the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Government of India, and the Central Zoo Authority for in giving me the opportunity to speak on Ganges River dolphins as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav series. I'm just going to broadly talk about the universe of our river dolphins. We have two species of river dolphins in India. They have recently been split into two different species actually. The better known species is the Ganges river dolphin, Platanista gangetica, which occurs across the Ganges and Brahmaputra plains across India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. And its sister species, so to say, is the Indus river dolphin, Platanista minor, which occurs mainly in the country of Pakistan, and a very small population occurs in the Bias river in the Indian state of Punjab. So these two species actually are really unique and fascinating in that they are among the oldest cetacean species that are still alive. They are nearly 25 to 26 million years old, as in when they evolved in their present form, and which means that they have been there even before the Himalayas in some sense. So, that is the sort of incredible evolutionary history of these species. And according to recent genetic studies, these species split, their population split off with the divergence of the Indus and Ganges basin rivers. And this was roughly around 0.55 million years back. So since then, these have existed as separate species. These species they have been facing multiple threats. These threats mainly are related to dams and barrages, reducing river flows, entanglement in fishing nets that result in their mortality because they drown after they get entangled. Occasionally, these species were also hunted. In some pockets, this still continues for their oil, which is often used as fishing bait by fishermen. Apart from that, river pollution, sewage, solid waste, plastic pollution impacts are also recorded for these species. In the near future, these species are likely to also face threats from large-scale infrastructure projects on our rivers, uh, widespread land use changes, as well as climate change-induced impacts on river flows. For example, glacial melt and extreme events of climate and so on, which can lead to droughts and stuff. So overall, there is a whole range of threats. We all know how our rivers are, in some sense, abused, and their water is mostly extracted for human needs, whereas these species critically depend on that water. However, there has been a great history, very reassuring history of conservation efforts in the Indian subcontinent. There have been many field surveys, there have been monitoring surveys, studies, and tireless efforts for conservation outreach by many scientists and organizations over the last 3 to 4 decades in all the countries in which these species occur. In India, the Ganges River dolphin was declared the national aquatic animal in 2010. And after that, there have been conservation action plans, species recovery programs. And recently, the announcement of Project Dolphin is another fillip to these conservation efforts. Now, this is really something that is very makes me very optimistic about the future of these species, in spite of the very grave and very serious threats that they face. But today I'm going to talk about a slightly less known aspect of river dolphins, and I'll come to that soon. The question is, do we know our river dolphins? Now awareness has increased a lot because of many campaigns to protect the species, many conservation outreach programs, awareness programs, and so on. But still, often we see the wrong image of dolphins being shown as Ganges River dolphins. Like this news article, which came in a prominent daily, which shows a bottlenose dolphin here, but the news says Gangetic dolphin. So often, the common public or many people still are not able to understand the difference between how the Ganges or Indus dolphins look and how other marine species of dolphins look, which leads to often a lot of wrong images in the media. There is a reason for this. What you see here is basically an underwater shot of the Ganga River taken by a small GoPro camera. And in this shot, basically, you see only murky water. And this is one of the reasons that we are not able to see these species underwater, let alone see photographs of them swimming underwater like we see for marine dolphins. And because these waters have been so murky of our Himalayan rivers, these species have also lost their eyesight effectively in the course of their evolution. So if you take a closer look at these species, they are quite unique and they're really bizarre looking. If you look at the eye of the species, it is almost it's so tiny that it's almost like a pinhole camera. Studies have shown that it can only detect the light horizon and the dark horizon. And this is a species, therefore, that mostly swims on its side. It swims on one side of its body in order to locate the lit horizon from the river bottom, which is the darker horizon. Not only that, if you look at its beak or snout, there is a very peculiar, unique sort of arrangement of teeth. The calf shows small hairs on its snout, which is also a very peculiar feature of among cetaceans. And in many ways, even anatomically and physiologically, these river dolphins are really different from most other dolphins that are alive today. Uh, Typically, what happens is we only get to see the whole animal when there is an unfortunate event, like accidental entanglement in a fishing net. When the dolphin dies and then it gets pulled out, then something gets covered in the media. That is when we get to see the whole animal. But it's nearly impossible to see them underwater. So coming back to what I was saying, what I'm going to speak about briefly today is a very little known aspect of this species, in that the captive studies that were conducted on these species in the 1970s in 3 different countries. And I'm going to briefly talk about that. If you see this beautiful image of 2 Indus River dolphins in a swimming tank, in an aquarium, this image is from the Brain Anatomy Institute at Bern, Switzerland. And if you see the dolphin at the bottom, it's actually touching the base of its fin to the floor of the tank. And this is a behavior that was noticed, which it's actually like a visually challenged person trying to locate obstacles in its path by the sense of touch. So it's almost this image is very powerful in that not only shows them underwater, but it also brings out their side swimming ability, and the fact that they are effectively their eyesight is very weak. And about the species, a lot is known from a fairly long time. Like Pliny the Elder in 72 CE described the species in some detail, which is the first, probably the first written record of the species anywhere. The dolphin also appears in the Babar-Nama in various forms and illustrations. And then it was actually in 1801 that it was first described scientifically by William Roxburgh and Heinricus Julius Lebeck, who are credited with the official formal discovery of the species. John Anderson, who was the director of the Indian Botanical Garden at Calcutta in 1878-79, conducted a lot of studies on these animals, which he found in the Hooghly River. He had even kept one subadult Ganges River dolphin in a small pond in the Indian Botanical Garden and tried to study it. After that, there were several physiological and anatomical studies in the early 1900s, mainly by German anatomists. And then it was from the 1960s to up to 1980 where many captive studies became possible. And I feel that these captive studies have had an invaluable contribution in whatever little we know still about these species. Professor Giorgio Pilleri conducted studies in Switzerland. He carried Indus dolphins from Pakistan to Switzerland. Professor Kasuya carried Ganges River dolphins from erstwhile East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, all the way to Japan and studied them there. And Indus dolphins were also taken to the United States for studies. And this gave some incredibly fascinating information on their allometry, their anatomy. Many Indus and Ganges dolphins were also sacrificed in these researches because there was no wildlife protection law at that time in these countries when the dolphins were taken for these studies. But it was found that survival in captivity was generally low, with the exception of 2 adult dolphins in Bern, which survived for about over 3 or 4 years. But apart from that, most other dolphins in the 3 nations where they were kept died quite early. But these captive studies opened up a whole range of fascinating behaviors. For example, in the featureless tank environments in which these individuals were kept, they would often get interested in any object that was suspended. So here you can see an Indus River dolphin trying to play with a hydrophone, which was suspended in the tank to record its acoustic signals and its high frequency echolocation sounds. These are again some incredibly rare pictures which show how the dolphin is swimming on its side and capturing live fish on the left side. And in one experiment that Professor Giorgio Pilleri conducted, he actually tried to hand feed an Indus dolphin, and it was also nearly successful. And this only happened once because after that there was some unprovoked accident or some event that happened which made the dolphins very suspicious, and after that they never took fish from the hands of Professor Pilleri. Now these things are still not very well known, and these references have become very obscure. Nonetheless, I think the diversity and the span of studies that was conducted anatomically, physiologically, behaviorally is what we have, which may help us know more about the species and how they survive in the wild, as well as provide us with some clues about their conservation. Just as an interesting aside, what happened years later was that Professor Pilleri actually became a critic of cetacean captivity. And I'm just going to read out a small excerpt from this quote by him. He said that I feel ashamed at having lost my dolphins because they were nothing more than an alibi for scientific research, since keeping dolphins in artificial conditions can do little else than produce artificial scientific results. And then he explains why those dolphins died and so on. Which brings us to a very important point, that we must study river dolphins in the wild and try to know more about their ecology, as well as the ways in which they manage to survive. And for this, I think that using insights and data from past captive studies becomes very important. Now, with the advent of technology, we have passive acoustic studies that can reveal a wealth of behavioral information and provide us with clues about responses of dolphins to different threats in their habitat. And I think another understudied area or underexplored area in India, particularly, is that of necropsy and veterinary research. And there is definitely a need to build more capacity, because this can give us, again, a lot more information on causes of death and health assessments of these dolphins, which can further help us in their conservation. In terms of new applications, there are genetic and chemical studies, computer modeling, a whole range of ideas. And for that, our basis is the captive studies and the information that was collected long back in the 1970s by these researchers. What we have tried to do in our work is to basically try and identify some gaps from the past captive studies and try to sort of build a model of how this species feeds on, how this species feeds on fish, how they manage to navigate um, in their dark surroundings. And for that, acoustics is a very powerful tool. So here, if you see, this is a skull of the Ganges River dolphin. And if you see these very interesting maxillary crests that this species has got, these are basically, these act like sound reflectors, sound concentrators, where basically they help in the acoustic beam that the dolphin produces remains very short range, and that helps them localize, and capture their fish prey. And these passive acoustic devices are quite easy to install. We use often a device called the C-Pod, which is a very handy and easy to use device, which automatically logs river dolphin clicks. It does not even record the sound. It just logs the clicks and gives us the summary of the information that is there. And even from these things, some behavioral aspects can be investigated. For example, if you look at this graph, it basically shows inter-click interval. So as you know, dolphins use echolocation. So when they are approaching their prey, the inter-click interval, which means the time interval between two clicks that are emitted for receiving their echos in order to localize on a target, that interval keeps going down, which means that clicks are emitted in very rapid succession until the dolphin comes close to the prey and then captures it. So such events can be even detected by the simple log files that are saved by the passive acoustic device. And these techniques essentially can help us to study these animals in the wild and understand more. This is another very interesting graph. So here you see a whole range of dolphin clicks, and then this is what happens when a motorized boat passes it. Completely gets masked. So there are various ways in which such indirect studies can help us, given the fact that we cannot observe these species underwater. Recently, there has also been some discussion in global bodies like the IUCN for ex situ options for extremely threatened species, like both Indus and Ganges dolphins are included in these assessments. I was also a part of this assessment, and what we felt was that the priority still needs to be in situ conservation. And as I said, there needs to be much more focused attention on studies in the wild by building upon the basic knowledge that we have from studies in captivity. What is important to realize here is that in spite of the onslaught of several threats on our river systems, these dolphins have managed to survive quite well. Their status is still pretty good in many rivers. Population trends also seem to be stable, although overall there may be some declines. But overall, it seems to be stable, at least in some stretches which have been monitored in the long term. And there is still a lot of hope. And I think it is ultimately because of the remarkable resilience of these dolphins, and because of their very peculiar evolutionary history, which we have been able to know of through these past studies, and there are still many puzzles to unfold in order to know more about how they may be able to withstand or not withstand the future threats that they may face. So with that, I think given that these species are so remarkably resilient, they need to be kept safe in their wild habitats. And that should be our conservation priority immediately. With that, I would like to end my talk here, and I thank you very much once again for this opportunity. And uh, I'm very glad to have shared something of potential interest with this audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nachiket, for giving an overview of the species and, of course, the history behind the entire research being done on this Ganges River dolphin. We will take question answers for this session at the end. We now move on to the next part of today's talk, which is on Know Your Zoo. So joined in today to speak to us on the zoo is Mr. Satyajit Kumar, who is the director of the Sanjay Gandhi Biological Park, Patna. Mr. Satyajit is an Indian Forest Service officer of the 2010 batch. He has done his post-graduation in forestry and has been involved in the welfare and management of forests and wildlife in Bihar for over 2 decades now, and will speak to us more on the zoo. So over to you, sir. Sir, are you able to hear me?
लाइन का फ्रंट लाइन को जानते हैं सीधा कट एक सेकंड
Sir, you're on mute. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. Please begin your talk. You can share your presentation.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my presentation. Is it shared, ma'am?
Yes, sir. It's visible. Please go ahead. So is there any difficulty?
Yeah, just I'm getting.
Okay, fine.
Good afternoon, all. Yeah. All right. Ma'am, there is a message showing this. Don't show this message again.
Sir, the presentation is visible. I think you can just proceed. Are you able to scroll through?
Yeah, ma'am.
Up.
This is not. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah?
This is the this is our. I mean, these are the contents we am going to present today, ma'am. These are about brief details about the zoo. We have approved this master layout plan, this visitor facility and amenities, and the features of the zoo, and the animal care and conservation programs that are being carried out in the zoo, our zoos, ma'am, and the awareness and nature education programs we are, I mean, carrying out throughout the year, and this special Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and the issues and constraints, and also the future planning and development. I'm going through the brief introduction of our zoo. This is the only zoo of Bihar, and this comes under the large zoo category. Here, more than about 25 lakh visitors visit annually here, and it has an area of about 153 acres. And this area is located in a very important place. I mean, just amidst the center of the city. One side is there is the airport, and second, and another side is the important government establishment like Raj Bhavan, TM House, and other important government establishments. And our zoo is one of the most greenest zoo. About more than 80% of the area is covered by green cover, and it is in the Patna it is known as the lungs of Patna also. This is our approved latest.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Your slide is not changing.
Oh, what to do?
So just try resharing it in case it's not moving.
Okay, ma'am. Just a second. What to do it?
So you can stop sharing this. If you take your cursor towards the center of your screen, there'll be a drop-down menu that comes stop sharing.
चलिए
इसको दोबारा आप शेयर करके देखिए. Maybe it will work. अगर अभी scroll नहीं हो पा रहा है.
वहाँ से शेयर नहीं हुआ. अच्छा, अब शायद हो जाएगा. Now it is open. Okay,
Yes,
ma'am?
yes, it's moving now. We are on the master
Ah.
layout slide. If you can just
Okay,
go
ma'am.
ahead. Yeah.
And these are the, visitors as revenue status of our zoo in last 3, 4 years. During COVID periods, it has hampered, but now it is things have been improving fast. And these are the details of our zoo inmates. These are the we have about more than 90 species of the animal, about 1100 zoo inmates. These are the basic animal healthcare features that we are showing here in the slide. We are also carrying, latest awareness about the whatever going around in the world, and also, take due precautions. Usually called upon experts to, what are the precautions need to be taken about any, disease outbreak. Like recently, we, got the, news about the monkey pox. So we called the expert, and they have delivered to all our zookeepers and also our vets also. And similarly, we do spread about TVs and this all these pathogenic diseases. We have MOU with the local veterinary college. We have a MOU signed between Patna Zoo and Bihar Veterinary College, and there are 12 impaneled renowned veterinarians who do visit regularly in the zoo and impart their important services. These are the major events that we do carry out in our zoo, apart from other events. Rhino is, Patna Zoo is mostly known for our rhino breeding. These are our, Patna Zoo is not only about zoological section, it has a, great variety of botanical section also. So these are the glimpses of our botanical sections. Jal Udyan, Kena Garden, Children Park, so many features, fun house, biocompost unit. These are the features of, zoological sections. सांप घर, मछली घर, nocturnal house, newly bred, this gharial enclosure, new breeding center, double horn rhino enclosure, and also giraffe enclosure. We have focused of late on the enrichments also, and it has given, good results also. These are the few pics of the enrichments that we have done of late. These are the, just in last 2-3 months, these are the animals born to our zoo. Two giraffe, two new baby giraffe have born, and 4 tigers, giraffe, and many, birds, gharial, grey wolf. These are born recently, and we are expecting soon one more giraffe and rhino also in the coming month, and also hippo also. These are our pictures of newborn. Yeah, visitor facilities and amendment. Because this is located at the center of the Patna, and this is one of the major attraction of the for the pet nights. So, uh, we have tried to develop facilities according to them, to their requirement. We have for facilitating their visits here, we have also did online book ticketing system, and through electronic gate entry also. We have complete free Wi-Fi campus throughout the zoo premises for visitors. This is completely free. We have battery operated vehicle facilities, about 8 to 10 battery operated vehicle facilities for traveling inside the zoo. And we have also a trackless toy train. We have, cleaning facility is one of our greatest strength. It is also one of the most clean zoo in India. We have well distributed RO points for the visitors and bathrooms also. We have a special facilities for kids, prime facility, a special e-vehicle for Divyang who visit here free. We have, a dedicated facility for Divyangs, and we are planning soon for Braille signage also for the visually challenged people. We have also a state-of-the-art canteen facility just beside the lake point, and which is in the center of the our zoo. We have a 2 parking facility. One parking facility is very large to accommodate such large number of visitors. Apart from this sitting arrangement and sets, we are trying to make more number of ecological sets, like mostly made of bamboo and woods. We have also we have a 3D theater premises, in which we have installed this digital information kiosk, in which visitors get details of all the features of the zoo, about the animals and track and what are the facilities. These are available in the information kiosk. We are improving day by day the exhibit facility for the visitors. We have this world-class 3D theater with very new new kind of scientific educational tools through like the showing this light more pattern based on light reflections, and so many features that are inside that theater world, and that is being shown to the students visiting out there. We have also amphitheater facility where school children and visitors do at the while visiting the zoo, and they do multiple activity. They enjoy get entertained there itself. We have created a shed, bamboo shed, which is also known as visitor facilitation desk. And we have also souvenir shop, in which we have recently included many minor forest produce and forest crafts, like products made from bamboo, and this forest produce, many organic produce like this sahajan powder, this jungle honey, and many pots which are being colored in such a manner which can be used for the drinking pots of birds. Also nest, also we nest made of this grassy materials. We are also selling indoor plants. Our botanical section also have two nurseries, and we develop in-house facility of developing indoor plants that we also sell through this souvenir shop. We have also this in-house biocompost unit that is mostly this biocompost generated from the leaf waste that is being spread throughout the premises of the zoo. These are being processed, stockpiled and processed and converted into compost, and that is also being sell out in this souvenir shop. We have also attached library near to the office. We have dedicated children park also. Recently, we also created a structure. For public, particularly youth, as a giant selfie point, which is a great revenue earner also for the zoo. We have a dedicated, clock room also. We have a special soil tracks throughout the premise. Has been designed meticulously to cater to the needs who wants to walk through the jungles. They have the feel of the jungle. So a special soil tracks have also been made apart from the normal this blacktop routes and other routes. We have also the boating facility in our large lake, and we have also encouraged our visitors to take up the animal adoption program. In last year, we have earned more than 30 lakh rupees in the last financial year. These are the pictures of giant selfie, information kiosk, souvenir shop, trackless toy train, 3D theater, electronic gate entry. This vehicle is especially meant for the Divyangjan. We have a, on the website, we have floated the number in which any Divyangjan can book their, can register for this use of the vehicle for free. These are our, movie, recent movie that we have purchased, and these are being shown to the public completely free. 3D theater. The features of Patna Zoo. Our zoo is one of the most clean and green zoo in the country. We have a very sound, animal health care team, and we have a special health advisory committee of the Patna Zoo, which meets, regularly, twice in a month, and they do health audits of every enclosures in the zoo after, carrying out the meeting, and they prepare for the agenda what needs to be done, and compliance has to be made in the next meeting. We have also legally binding coordination with that we have. I have already told with Bihar Veterinary College, and it is of great help to us despite so many. We have faced so many problems, but their dedicated service to the zoo, we have get rid of many health related issues of our animals. We have a well equipped and very highly hygienic ahar godam for food storage and preparation of the healthy foods for our zoo inmates. Patna Zoo, of late has been known for its rhino and giraffe conservation. We have, giraffe breeding is also getting prominence. In this year, we would be having 3 more new baby giraffes. And rhino conservation is our one of the most highest point. We have a dedicated rhino conservation and breeding center, and through this breeding center, we are very happy to inform CJD that soon we will have a new baby from this breeding center. We have also a special aquarium facility, Machli Ghar. Apart from that, we have already told we have features of botanical sections, which are great attraction for the visitors also, like fern house, cactus house, Jal Udyan, medicinal garden, rock garden, Kena garden, rose garden, and many other such botanical section also harvest many indigenous plants also, which are very rare. Completely free 3D entry and 3D movie show. We have a very well-equipped Jew education hall for Jew awareness and related programs. It in-houses, it has capacity of about 100 participants at a time. It is a two-floor building. In the upper section, we can in-house, about 100 participants for any programs or awareness or seminars or workshop, whatever that we organize on a routine basis. And beneath the hall, in the ground floor, it also has capacity more than 150. So that, habitat improvement and better animal health care program. Of late, we have been coordinating with many renowned conservationists of respective field. For example, for giraffe, we have consulted, and they have stayed here for a month, more than a month. Like Mr. Tushar Kulkarni, who is a giraffe expert also, who has been staying here for long, and also for birds and chimpanzee, we have called Mr. This expert Devasis Banerjee from Kolkata. He also give consultancy services to us. And for giraffe, for crocodiles, that brought recently very well. That has also, we have also in consultation with Mr. Tarun Nair of this Crocodile Foundation, Chennai. And we have, for the rhino breeding center, we have a, dedicated CCTV monitoring center. And another enclosures like tiger, new breed tiger. We have a, dedicated CCTV facilities wherever it is required to observe or to monitor the animals. We have developed the 24/7 veterinary facilities for our animals in the zoo. One of the our vets do present here into 24/7 basis. We have also processed for expansion of our this veterinary facility to treat more rescued and other animals. So we are trying to expand our hospital facility, and that we are in consultation with IVRI. That letter is being sent to the director to give consultation to us how we can expand our veterinary hospital facility. We are also, going for advanced enrichment that are being done with the world-class zoos. And about the diet program, we have one of the most, strictly followed and well-prescribed diet programs. And that is being designed by our, we are veterinary college veterinarians, dietitians particularly, and it is one of many experts who have visited here. They have praised these diet programs, diet charts. We almost follows all the protocols and SOPs issued by CJD. It has been followed in letter and spirit, and almost we have taking due care of pairing of all the lone animals, barring one or two of late. Recently we have paired our lone lion with a lioness, that is brought from the Sakarbag Zoo. We also for our zookeepers, we on every every month or by monthly we do carried out programs for skill enhancement of our zookeepers. For it is related to any matter, be it the CPR training, be it the monkeypox, be it the COVID related, be it the TB related. Or any animal health care related, uh, we do carry out our programs on a regular basis. Uh, we also take care of our physical and mental being of zookeepers. They have been tested, regularly with this TB test, and we also organize many programs dedicated for the zookeepers. We often send to the nearby, tiger reserves and other areas, and to other Jews to learn about the best practices. These are the awareness and education program, nature education program. We are devising. Soon we'll be creating a education module, nature education program dedicated for the Jews. It will be having many modules, and it will be circulated to few important schools based in Patna, and we will have direct linkage and regular nature education programs, especially designed for them to cater to the nature knowledge uh, requirements of the children, and we also able to sensitize them towards our animals and this nature conservation or and overall wild conservation programs. We have of late get into many important organizations like Bihar Museum, Geological Survey of India, many NGOs, Meetinga, who are working in the field of nature, and it's related to children. So we are in direct on daily basis, routine basis, we organize programs of various kinds. So children come here and do carry out many recreational activities, and we have a dedicated zoo education hall for them, amphitheater for them, and they are getting benefited from them. All these. We have also tie up with many important organizations like IOCL, SBI, HDFC. IOCL of late has been um, has open. Direct. Because they have a logo for rhino conservation. So they are coordinating with us. We can have more CSR from IOCL in the coming year. We are expecting more funds from IOCL. We also getting many supports from SBI also. Uh, of late we have it is a requirement of nature education officer and biologist, and these posts have been sanctioned 1 year back, and soon these posts will be filled. These are the things with that we have already discussed. These are the programs, regular programs that we are carrying out. Below is the picture of the beneath picture that I am showing here is the picture during the COVID time. We have stationed all the zookeepers here only, and with all the COVID protocols, uh, they were camped here and take care of our animals. Our minister flagging of many such awareness programs. picture of Bihar Museum. We have collaboration with Bihar Museum. I mean, we exchange our programs and we coordinate with each other facilities. And these are all, I mean, augurs well for the school children. This is our amphitheater facility. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav at Patna Zoo. I mean, the day Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav was launched, we have organized many programs. Our Honorable Minister was very much, I mean, up for this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We have installed many posters, many huge banners, backlit banners installed, showcasing the features of this Amrit Mahotsav. We have carried out many programs. I mean, before this program, that ongoing program, we have carried many programs for the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We have, I mean, a special flag march of the students. I mean, there's so many special programs like Kabar Se Jugaad, Rhino Fest, digital infotainments. I mean, all features that we have done in this Azadi Ka Mahotsav. We have designed a special T-shirt, caps, all, I mean, with a special logo of Azadi Ka Mahotsav. And for all the events, we have distributed all these to children, particularly weakest section children. We have organized a special movie show, 3D movie show for the children and visitors. SBI and AUTL also have donated for the Azadi Ka Amrit program funding also, the partial funding they did. And recently, in the going time, from 20 to 26 June, we, under the guidance of CJDA, these are the enlisted programs that are we are doing. This is the third day of the program. Today also, we just returned from our Dolphin census exam exercise. Despite, huge voluminous water flow in the Ganga, we have, sighted about more than 20 dolphin, Gangetic dolphins, in the only 22-kilometer stretch from Patna to Patuha. Today only. And there's so many programs. We have coordinated with the Geological Survey of India. Their chief scientist Gopal Sharma is also the head of National Dolphin Research Center also. And we are doing many programs for fishermen, for students, for our forest guards. And we devised all these programs with the help of ZSI and our youth team members. This is the first day on 20th June only. This a special talk was organized, expert talk on conservation of dolphin, our national heritage of India. This is also the national aquatic animal of India. Second picture is showing this awareness amongst the these fishermen about rescue and operation, and also to our frontline staff also. Today only, our Honorable Minister flag off the Dolphins SS team. Today only we have uploaded this picture in the this PPT also. One dolphin is being also shown. These are our proposed exchange of animals. Of late, we are trying to have animal donations from South Africa. We have also got proposal from animal Aldabra donation from Seychelles. We have already sent the clearance proposal to the CJD. This final approval is yet to come. These are the few ongoing exchange programs. Besides all these, we are facing, some issues and constraints. One of the major constraints is the nearby Patna airport and the golf area attached to, just adjacent to the Patna Zoo. These creates our, lot of constraint to us. Patna airport, I mean, it creates lots of noises while, while taking off on landing. And there's also a golf area nearby it, which is also a nuisance to us. We are on the financial autonomy aspects. We need to have this a special, this zoo authority that has not been yet, done to Patna Zoo. Till now, we all the revenues goes to the state exchequer, and we do work on the basis of fund allotments done by the state government or sometimes by CZ. There are few other issues. We have very old birds enclosures. It need to be revamped urgently. With a financial allocation from the CJ and also we have almost no allocation from the CJ in last 2 years. We are also, we are lacking basic facilities to our veterinary officers, like their residence of office assistance to them, their vehicles, so that they can carry out their duties in a more effective manner. We have pressed these issues to our higher authorities. Staff availability is also our major issue. About 50% of the zookeepers' posts are empty. These need to be filled soon. One of the major area where we can improve upon is the visitors' amenities and facility. Visitors here, many facilities like crèche facility and baby care room and a world-class cafeteria. We are also our higher ups are planning to have more facilities for the visitors, because large number of visitors coming there, so only one zoo cafeteria is not sufficing the purpose. We earlier we about 7 to 8 years back we had a famous toy train, but this has been closed due to maintenance issues. It was run by the railway, Indian Railway. But again, we are trying to, today only when the meeting was going on with the railway. Soon in this financial year itself, this toy train will again revamped. We have also our old lake in which boating facility and other, uh, it's a watershed area for our whole zoo also. So proper upkeep of this lake is mandatory. We have trying to infuse this ADS system to clean up the zoo, to improve the health of the zoo. We because many new enclosures have been also made, so old drainage system is need to revamp to accommodate all the sections of the zoo. Many important enclosures that need to be revamped on urgent basis, particularly a small cat enclosure, aquarium, wolf house, deer enclosure, snake house. These all need to be revamped or redesigned soon. Many botanical sections also need to be revamped. Many important exchange proposals could not be carried out due to COVID reasons, particularly uh, uh, from countries not within the nation, so particularly from Denmark, Australia, Seychelles, and this Vietnam. We are also, for lion we have paired up. Now we are, there are few pairing issues in zebra, and it's a small cat and Indian fox. Our future planning and development, the master plan is valid for 2023. So we need to soon make a revised master plan, also the revised collection plan also. These are the enlisting that we are planning to do in this coming year, and we will be needing the constant guidance and support from the CJD to carry out our work, these future works and developments. That's all from our side. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving such an overview, comprehensive overview of the zoo and its functioning, as well as the future plans that you have in place ahead for the zoo. We will now move on to question and answer sessions for today's talk. So you can stop sharing your presentation now. So Dr. Nachiket, we will take questions up for the species section first. Are you there with us?
Yes.
Right. So, sir, the first question for you is that what do we know of the breeding system of the Ganges River dolphin?
We know what we know about the breeding system is mainly from observations made on very young neonates or very young calves when they are found in the river. So what we know is that the gestation period of Ganges and Indus River dolphins is estimated at between 9 to 10 months, and when of the calves are born is typically from March to May. That is thought to be the main breeding pulse when most calves are born. Although there, according to the region that we are considering, calves have also been found in other seasons, all the way up to September, occasionally in November or December as well. So that's about the birth pulse. In terms of the social system, this species is solitary, although there have been some groups that have been recorded. Particularly there could be feeding aggregations where many dolphins end up congregating in certain areas, and there may be mating also between these congregating animals. So what is interesting is that when these dolphins are in good densities, what we have observed is that often one mating pair is often followed by a few other individuals who are also trying to follow females and mate with them. So we still don't know how exactly this system may be, but it seems that in high density populations there may be some fairly intense competition for mates between Gangetic dolphins. Interestingly, Gangetic dolphins, the females are larger than the males. So we believe that it's the females that typically stay in a place, and it's the males that keep sampling different areas in search of mates. But again, these are mostly in the realm of conjecture, and more information is needed by more dedicated behavioral and field studies.
Right, sir. So I think you partly answered the next question for you, which was that is there a way to distinguish between males and females?
Yeah, so if typically it's not very easy. So that there is a difference between Indus and Ganges dolphins. In Ganges dolphins, sexual dimorphism is very highly pronounced. The females are much larger, nearly going up to 2.6 to 2.7 meters in the total body length, as compared to males, which are usually known to go up to 2.1 to 2.2 meters in body length. So with dead or rescued animals, it is quite easy to identify based on this. But if you are doing the survey in the river, And if you just see just a small dive where only the back is visible, often it is next to impossible to distinguish female from male. In the case of Indus River dolphins, there is no sexual dimorphism. At least it is not as pronounced as the Ganges River dolphin. This is again very fascinating why this is, but it's probably related to their evolutionary differentiation and respective changes in growth patterns. But in the case of Indus dolphins, the sizes are almost similar for males, adult males and females.
Right, sir. And the next question for you is that several media articles still report killing of dolphins in their range areas. How can awareness address this?
Uh, yeah, that's a good question. The act of hunting dolphins is was more or less practiced in many fishing communities earlier. When there was no awareness about the species, many people regularly used its products for mainly for fishing bait and for local medical cures like for treating rheumatism or joint pain or whatever. So when there was no awareness, killing was quite widespread. The fact that it still persists in some areas needs to be again further explored why this is the case. I feel that there are certain communities that do this because of cultural reasons. That is number one. That they have always been doing this. They probably have a better sense of how to do this as compared to others. So it has become a cultural practice, which is why some people continue to do it despite the awareness that is there. Second reason is that the communities claim that when they catch fish with dolphin oil, the catches are higher than if they use other oils like fish oil. Although there have been experts like Dr. Sinha who have developed alternative oils also for which in the hope that these will gradually replace the use of dolphin oil. At least in whatever I have seen, the uptake has been quite limited for again reasons that I can't exactly place a finger upon. But so it's a mixture of culture. It's a plus the quick gains that you get monetarily by using the oil. And thirdly, it is also because some pockets may be there where awareness is not yet adequate. Particularly in the flood range of dolphins. When often what happens is when the rivers are in spate, dolphins end up getting into tributaries where they otherwise don't exist. And then this offers an opportunity for what can be called as opportunistic exploitation of these dolphins. So these two or three factors today, because of the large scale awareness that has already gone in, I think these three factors are what explain killings that sometimes come up in the media. But most often it is lack of awareness. And secondly, it may be cultural practices linked to specific groups.
Right, sir. And so the next question for you is that what kind of collaborations can zoos develop in dolphin range states around to help spread awareness about the species and their habitats?
I think you just heard Mr. Kumar speak about it, the kind of activities they have been organizing regularly for awareness and so on. But I think there is definitely scope to extend more in terms of good high-end veterinary research and facilities. Even for, zoos can play a vital role in not only attending to animals that are in need of rescue, whether it's in fishing nets or if some animal gets into a canal or something like that. Some of you may also be aware of the work being done by the Uttar Pradesh Forest Department and the Turtle Survival Alliance, for instance, where they have a really excellent way of rescuing dolphins that get stranded in canals. So I think here is where zoos can play a role by providing veterinary support at the right time, as well as necropsy related facilities and so on, even storage of samples. So in various ways, or in case it is really critical, sometimes emergency holding of a certain rescued individual until it gets healed or something. I think emergency holding for cetaceans, unfortunately in India, our record in terms of keeping cetaceans in captive facilities has been almost non-existent, I would say. There have been a few attempts in, I think, some dolphinariums in Chennai, which failed. So, in that sense, even though personally I believe that dolphins should not be kept in captivity as much as possible. But at the same time, in case there is a need for emergency holding, zoos are the only place where we can expect some contraption or some facilities to hold these animals when required.
Right. So in line to that is the next question, which says that is imprinting a potential issue if captive breeding of dolphins is undertaken?
Imprinting.
Yes, imprinting.
Okay, yeah, it is. So typically, this has been seen for marine dolphins which have been kept in captivity, especially if they happen to be taken in as very young animals. They tend to become very closely associated or attached with their trainers or their providers. Like any other animals, it is quite obvious here also. For river dolphins, because only a few were kept in captivity in the past, there was no breeding in captivity. And although males and females, adult males and females were also kept together on a few occasions, there was no breeding in captivity. Which also, I think, in a way addresses Dr. Pandey's question in the chat, which is there any plan for XC2 breeding of Gangetic dolphins? As of now, as to my knowledge, there is no plan. But XC2 conservation translocations is something that is being thought of for Indus dolphins in Pakistan. Because they are now restricted only to the main stem of the Indus, and they are locally extinct from the tributaries of the Indus in Pakistan. So there has been some thought going on, but I think in situ populations are still going strong in most places. So we are still not at the stage where XC2 breeding should become such an important priority, at least.
Right. And so the next question for you is that given that the species is not housed in any of the zoos as of today, what are the indirect methods through which zoos can contribute to dolphin conservation?
Well, I think I kind of answered that briefly through the extension of veterinary care, through the extension of rescue facilities where it is required, and probably through providing some emergency holding wherever possible. For indirect studies, zoos directly, like recently there was a proposal or at least some discussion that maybe a canal can be created where some dolphins can be kept, and the canal can be glass walled where people can view the animal. But in my honest opinion, I don't think this is quite going to be very easy or feasible. Especially, we need to keep in mind that Ganges and Indus dolphins have had a poor survival rate in captivity when these expeditions that took them happened. Of course, there was a lot of transportation involved over long distances in fairly tough conditions, and yet the dolphins made it there. So it was not the transportation that was the reason for their poor survival in captivity, but rather it was probably something to do with the conditions of captivity, not exactly the transportation. So that is something that may be a potential constraint in this.
Right. So, and the last question for you is that can citizens...
Apart from the, I want to add here.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
I mean the role of you. Through this this ongoing, this 1 week program, what we have seen the awareness program can do, particularly for fishermen communities. Dr. R.K. Sinha has worked a lot on these aspects, and also Dr. Gopal Sharma here in National Dolphin Research Institute, JSI head, local head. So, they have developed a strong rapport with the local fisher communities, and this is showing. In last 2-3 years. Recently, I'm also local resident of Patna only. We in the last 4-5 years we rarely used to see the dolphin here. Now, today exercise also. In last 2 years, lot of dolphins in only near Patna only. Populated, very populated stretch, and on very lot anthropogenic pressure also. But the students today, they have sighted more than 20 dolphins. Maybe repetition of 4-5 dolphins at a time, but It's a 22-kilometer stretch visit, and I mean, lot of activities of dolphin that has been seen, and this is mostly due to result of awareness among the local fishermen communities. They are not only, I mean, protecting. I mean, they have went to the extent of changing their nets and also to prevent any mishaps that I mean accidental caught up in the net. I mean, they have been trained by the nearby institutes. I mean, Patna Zoo is a coordinating zoo, but we have done very little. I mean, but we can do a lot in a generating awareness program, because this is also related to our pride, because more than 50% of our I mean Gangetic dolphin resides in Bihar only. We have dedicated Vikramshila Gangetic dolphin also. But throughout the stretch from Patna to Bhagalpur, this Gangetic dolphin, I mean, the encouraging sign is there. So awareness to the among the fishermen and to the local is yielding the result. Matlab, I mean, it has a very long, but it is showing the result very soon. Thank you.
Right, sir. And so, Dr. Nachiket, coming to the last question for you, it is that can citizen science be propagated as a platform for data collection where dolphin tourism is practiced? And are there any programs like this in place as of date?
Absolutely, that's a great question. Thank you so much. Citizen science, I think, has a lot of potential in not only in terms of reporting dolphin human interactions, whether positive or negative, whether it is with tourism or whether it's entanglement in fishing nets. A lot of these get go unreported. People may have seen it, but often they don't know what the animal is. They don't know what that the use of that animal is illegal, and therefore, although this may be something people have seen, but they are not able to relate to it. They are not able to somehow connect it to the fact that this is the Gangetic dolphin, which is the national aquatic animal and highly protected, completely protected from any such use. So I think this is where citizen science has immense potential. Developing networks between student groups or nature enthusiasts who are into bird watching or river tourism or such activities. I think there is a great potential for them to form platforms where they can share such news, particularly related to mortality, because mortality is still an area which is we have not been able to scientifically address very well. We have some reports, but to get the real extent of how much mortality may be occurring, I think citizen science is a very promising.
Right, sir. So those were the questions for you. We move on to now questions for the Know Your Zoo part. So, Mr. Satyajit, I think we have one question for you, which is that your zoo is also involved in the conservation breeding of the Indian rhinoceros,
Yeah.
or the greater one-horned rhino. Are there any initiatives or collaborations that are planned to merge with the in situ component of it?
Yeah, I mean, of late, I mean, we are also trying to develop this satellite facility uh, near, I mean, this our Rajgir Zoo Safari, and also, I mean, releasing this back into the wild. In Valmiki Tiger Reserve is a very, I mean, natural landscape, and it has a natural habitat area of, used to be have a natural habitat area of our rhinoceros. Uh, so, our chief wildlife warden has worked a lot, and he has devised a program also. Went to, I mean, there is a expert group who is monitoring all these, and whatever the extra animals that we, I mean, breed here, that will be released back into the wild through under the guidance of that team. Very, I mean, eminent persons, WTI, I mean, all, there are many stakeholders who will be carrying out these programs.
Right, sir. So that was the question for you that we received. The earlier ones have already been answered during the course of your talk, which were on the future plan as well as on the plans to, have the research activities at the zoo. So I think you've already answered that in your presentation. So we will not be taking that up. So with this, we come to the end of our for week 67, Know Your Species, Know Your Zoo talk. On behalf of the Central Zoo Authority, I would like to thank both Dr. Nachiket Kelkar and to you, Mr. Satyajit, for taking time out of your busy schedules and joining us for this talk. I would also like to thank the audience who have been with us throughout, and I hope you've learned more about the Ganges River dolphin as well as the Sanjay Gandhi Biological Park Patna. And I would also like to inform them that the Sanjay Gandhi Biological Park will be continuing the outreach activities till the end of the week. So if you are in Patna, do visit the zoo and take part in whatever activity is happening for the day. And we will be back next week on Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. with a week 68 talk, which would be on the Great Grey Hornbill and the Marble Palace Zoo. So do tune in for that talk as well. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you.